24/7. 24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika nakupenda sana. Oh, Afrika nakupenda sana.
Good evening once again. It is the program Love SA through Bold Moves Radio. This evening we have one of the guests that we cannot wait to hear more about, and her name is Kuhlula Ndhima. Miss Kuhlula Ndhima. She's with us today, and she has got a very interesting story that she is going to share with us, to share with our viewers and listeners across the social media platforms that we are available through, that is Facebook and YouTube. And Miss Ndhima, you are welcome to Love SA.
Thank you very much for welcoming me, and good evening to everyone who's watching.
Miss Ndhima Kuhlula, you know what, we normally would ask a question about where somebody comes from, how all these things started, who influenced or inspired him or her. But the question that I have, that I want to start with, has got something to do with your name. Kuhlula, I know Ibitora Xitsonga. What is behind this name, Kuhlula?
The name Kuhlula was given to me by my mom, who, according to her, when she narrates to me, it's because she had to fight for me to be born. She normally talks about being in labor for 20 days, from the 1st of May 1981 until the 20th of May when I was born. And she said that it was a battle after another, and she felt on the day when I was born, she actually says that she thought she was dying. And then she named me Kuhlula. My full name is Kuhlula Nyimpi.
Oh, and loosely translated into English will be what? You know, I'm not good in English. We have people who are listening to us who cannot also follow that much in Tsonga. Now, if you were to loosely translate it yourself into English, what would you say Kuhlula Nyimpi means?
I will say that it does not have the literal translation, but I will say that I'm the conqueror.
There you go. And she is a conqueror, and that we can find a testimony of when we look at her qualifications. Miss Kuhlula Ndhima is a very special guest. That is the reason that she has joined us this evening. And if I were to give you an idea who Miss Kuhlula Ndhima is career-wise, Miss Kuhlula Ndhima, by profession, she is a legal practitioner or an attorney or a lawyer, whichever way you want to use in looking at a profession. She is a graduate with an MBA. That was in addition to her LLB, the first degree that she acquired to become an attorney. Of course, not just getting an LLB, becoming an attorney, but she had to go through articles of clerkship, that is an in-service training, which was followed by admission exams, because you cannot just go on to become an attorney. We do have, I'm saying we do have because I am as well, as you know, a legal practitioner and attorney, write an admission exams, which determines your eligibility further on whether you can become a legal practitioner who can be unleashed to the public to help them. So she is that is Miss Kuhlula Ndhima. Over and above that, she's into farming. Miss Kuhlula. Kuhlula as a girl child, where does she come from?
Kuhlula as a girl's child, Kuhlula grew up at Blankwater, had my matric from Akane High School, go to university, as you have said, acquired some league diplomas and certificates on the way, the highest being the MBA that I acquired last year. Kuhlula as a girl is a friend, she's a daughter, she's a mother, she's a mentor. I wear many shoes and many hats depending on where I am at what time. And I embrace all of them. And I give myself full.
That is Miss Kuhlula Ndhima that we have this evening as our guest. Miss Kuhlula, there's something that you said to me of just before we could go on about teenage pregnancy, that you conceived your only child, your only daughter, that you told me about at a very tender age. You have an interesting story that you shared with me. Do you mind to share that story with us? Because I think it's a story that can inspire another girl child sitting somewhere at the corner thinking that, you know what, the world has just come crashing down on her. There's no more hope for her to carry on with life. We have Miss Kuhlula Ndhima, who has joined us this evening. And, you know, with load shedding from time to time, we would have something that would take us off air, but that cannot be just like that. We'll have a way in which we get Miss Ndhima to rejoin us, and look forward to the story that I have just posed a question that she has missed out, but she is rejoining us shortly. It is a story that seeks to speak to a girl child about the hope that she must continue to carry with, because whatever that we go through in life, we should not look at them as problems, but as challenges. Like we have load shedding, we should not look at it as a problem, because, you know, the minute we look at something as a problem, we become hopeless, and that becomes the end of our world. Instead, we should look whatever that we go through as challenges, as I believe that challenges should serve as a springboard from which we can jump from one level to the next in progression, as we carry on with the baton that we've been given by those that came before us. And our technical team is working on that to see to it that we get Miss Kuhlula Ndhima. In the meantime, what we can do, we can carry on to our first commercial break, because we have some bills that we need to pay whilst we sort out our guests to rejoin us. We are taking this break. More about Miss Kuhlula Ndhima when we come back from the other side of the break. That's how we come back from our commercial break. We have got Miss Kuhlula Ndhima, who has rejoined us. Miss Kuhlula, it's a question that I posed to you about teenage pregnancy. We want to find out. Our listeners are looking forward to that. You can carry on to share that story. It's an interesting and inspiring story, I must say.
I couldn't hear for some time, but I think I heard the gist of the question, wanting me to talk about the teenage pregnancy. As I am a teenage mom who had a child when I was 15. So before I turned 16, I had a daughter who is 27 years old this year. Let me talk about the experience more into that. Understand me when I say that it's not something that one is proud of, that I have had a child when I was 15, but it's something that I don't shy away from talking about it, because I know that somebody out there may have gone through the same thing, or as a parent, you have seen your child having a child herself at that younger age. One thing that I have gathered from it, or I have learned from it, is that you choose if you want that experience to kill you or you want it to motivate you. For me, the experience of falling pregnant at the age of 16 motivated me to be who I am today. It made me, I told myself that I had failed as a teenager and I will not fail ever again in my life. For each and every stage of my life, I will tackle it with that in mind, that Kuhlula, you have already failed as a teenager. You are not failing in your 20s, you're not failing in your 30s, you're not failing in your 40s, and I will not fail again in life. So it is, it was challenging. It's not easy to live from that. You need a lot of support from family, from the community, from friends, and you do meet some challenges from the same people, from the family, from the community, and from your friends. I look back and I thank God that I realized that I have done something which is totally wrong, and I embraced my mistake, and I was able to stand up from there and still look forward to life, and yeah, where I am now because of that. Sometimes I even go to the extent of asking myself that had I not had the child then, where would I have been? Would I have pushed the way I pushed in life, or would I have had nothing to live for, nothing challenging me, nothing to prove, and fail? But all in all, it's there. It's there. I'm a teen mom, and yeah, for someone who is pregnant now, or you have a child and you're still a teenager, what I can say is that it's not the end of the world. You can still achieve. That's the name of my daughter. My grandmother named her Imani Mitemba. So I was saying it's not yet over. You can have that child at that age, it happened, but you can still have hope for life, and you can still achieve everything that you wanted and more.
That's very interesting, Miss Ndhima, I must say. And I'm tempted to ask on behalf of a girl that is listening, on behalf of a parent that is listening there with an intention to share part of what you are saying with a daughter, with a girl from a neighborhood that she knows who could be going through the same experience that you went through about 27 years ago, as you just indicated that you are daughter just turned 27 this year. Now, Ms. Kuhlula, if I may ask you, what was or what could have been the worst thought that went through your mind when you discovered that at that tender age you were pregnant? When you discovered for the first time that I am pregnant?
To be quite honest with you, the thought that came at that age, it was happiness. Remember, you are 15. You don't know what life is. You think having a baby at that age, it's an achievement. You think you imagine yourself with this baby, with dressing the baby up, doing her hair if it's a girl, taking her to school. You don't think about serious things. You don't think about how am I going to feed this child. You don't think about how am I going to do because I still have to go to school. You are a child yourself. Your thoughts are childish. Until after you have had that child and you go back to normal life. Normal life for me, it was going back to school. That's when you realize that, oh, I've done something so big that have changed my life drastically. So to answer it in an honest way is the minute I discovered that I'm pregnant, I'm 50, I don't want to lie, I didn't have sleepless nights. It was excitement. It was childish thought. It was just pure childish thought that thought, this is it, this is life. You see yourself with your boyfriend raising the child, but your mind does not go to how are we going to raise this child.
And going on, and I must say that it's very interesting that one can see readily so that we react differently to situations that we come across as people, and as we can pick from Sis Kuhlula that she was full of excitement, but for those that are somehow despondent about the situation, who may be in the same situation, she has assured you that look, it should not be the end of the world. You should be optimistic that the world is still open there with opportunities for you to grab them, as she subsequently herself did grab such opportunities that we will be talking about, that I've already indicated as we started the program. And Sis Kuhlula, at what age? I'm asking you a few more questions on this because we have a lot of girls that are falling pregnant, and that comes with a lot of negative consequences, of course, because of the manner in which I guess many of them will react to that eventuality, of falling pregnant. At what age did you fall pregnant, if you may share with us, just to try to understand the childish thoughts that you had in your action to the discovery of the pregnancy?
When I fell pregnant, I was 15 years old, and I had my daughter 2 months after turning 16.
There you go. Very, very young at the time that she fell pregnant. And that was, by the way, an introduction of who Sis Kuhlula that we're talking to is, looking into a personal life before she could start a formal way of building herself in a way that will subsequently see her contributing in building South Africa to become a country that we all want to see it continue becoming. And more about what she is offering now from that formal sector that she is now. We will look at that just after the commercial break. Let's take a commercial break that will allow us time to prepare her to dish out from her heart what she has been doing and she continues to do to build South Africa.
Are you ready for the ultimate dietary powerhouse? Look no further than Masana Dietitian's Nutro Boost. Our scientifically formulated low GI food is designed to give you the boost you need to fuel your body and reach your health goals. With NutriBoost, you have the flexibility to enjoy it as a high-fiber cereal or a satisfying shake. Simply mix it with water and indulge in the mouth-watering flavors that we have to offer. But that's not all. NutriBoost is packed with essential nutrients that are beneficial for your overall well-being. Enriched with 20 immune-boosting vitamins and minerals, it's a convenient and effective way to support your immune system. And here's the best part. NutriBoost is gluten-free, egg-free, and high in omega-3, making it suitable for those with dietary restrictions or allergies. Need an energy boost? NutriBoost has you covered. It's high in energy and protein, providing you with the fuel you need to power through your day. Whether it's a busy morning or an intense workout session, say goodbye to midday slumps and hello to sustained energy with NutriBoost. Try it today and experience the difference. For orders or to become a distributor, contact us on the following details.
Allow me now, as we come back from the commercial break, to turn onto a new page of Sis Kuhlula, from Sis Kuhlula, the girl child that we have just heard about, onto Sis Kuhlula, the legal practitioner that she is. Sis Kuhlula, whatever that we normally pursue in life, including, but of course not limited to, our careers, there are people, there are events that inspire us to pursue such careers. Now, in your case, Sis Kuhlula becoming a legal practitioner that she is, what inspired her to study law in the first place?
Me studying law was something that happened after I had my matric results, and actually on my way to another institution to do another course. It is when I was sitting with my dad, waiting for my sister to write the aptitude test at the University of Pretoria. That's where my father spoke to me about his desire for me in the career. And he spoke about me to the extent that I realized that actually I am into law. I have in my life been an advocate of people's rights, as much as at that moment, at that time when it was happening, I was not aware that that's who I am. He spoke to me, he told me, because obviously they have been observing me growing up. He will say, you'll make a good lawyer. And he will give me examples of why he's saying that I can be a good lawyer. That was the first thing that motivated me to study law. In between, there were TV shows that we watch, and I used to see the black women going to court on those shows, whether it's a movie or it's a show. I will see black women wearing their pencil skirts and their heels and stockings, going to court and winning cases, and I wanted to be that person. I wanted to be that person that goes and be an advocate for someone who cannot help themselves, to fight the battles on behalf of someone who cannot fight for themselves. I think even my name says so. I'm a fighter. I fight, and it's not necessarily that I fight for myself. I fight for other people. And the love of people, the love of our country. It's one of the things that motivated me. If we look at our history as a country, where we come from, the history of South African women, where we come from, then it motivated me that I want to be the Winnie Mandela in someone's life. I want to be the Albertina Sisulu in someone's life. I want to fight for their rights. And then I decided, let me do law. I had an agreement with my father that if I fail, I can change and do something else. And I didn't fail. And I ended up getting my degree. And like you said before, do all those things so that I can become a legal practitioner.
Wonderful, I must say. Now, you said your dad, there's something that he observed about you, and he would actually give you examples why he felt and believed that you could become a lawyer. If we were to share with our viewers, with our listeners, with us, one or two of those things that he pointed at as the things that convinced him that you can become a lawyer, or things that yourself can remember that, oh, you know what, I remember I would do 1, 2, 3, even though at the time I did not realize that those things were good pointers that I could become a lawyer that I ultimately became.
One of the things that he talks more about me, he'll talk about my character. He will talk about my confidence about things. He'll talk about me always, if I believe in something, going all out to fight. And he would always also talk about the character of me wanting and always willing to protect others. He will say that then the law will give me the platform to be able to be that fighter, to be able to be that protector, to be able to talk, because he will say, after being knocked down at 15, you still have this confidence. You still can stand, you can still voice, you don't care. Not that necessarily I don't care about people's views, but if I believe in something, I was still pushing. So he will say that your confidence is high. You will stand there and you will fight. You'll talk your mind, and yeah. So my father, most of the things that my father was giving me examples on, it was the character, the personality of Kuhlula, the personality of who I am, and they will say that is the quantities according to him of me becoming the best lawyer.
Now, moving on to a stage at which Kuhlula was on the verge of becoming or qualifying as an attorney, writing admission exams. We understand, or are made to understand, or the public is made to understand, that admission exams as an attorney are the most difficult things that one can come across in the journey of qualifying as an attorney. If that is the case, we want to find out from you, or our viewers may want to find out that what is the secret behind that kept Sis Kuhlula focused, that she successfully went through the admission exams of qualifying her to become an attorney that she is now?
There are a few things that kept me going. One, it will be the fact that I've already failed as a teenager. I've already acquired a name of being that teenager, that girl that had a child at 15. So much I wanted to change my name. Not my name, Kuhlula, but the name of being the girl that had a child at 15. I wanted to change it to be that girl that had a child at 15 becoming a lawyer. So that's one thing that will keep me motivated. Second, it's the very same thing that I'm saying, that I wanted to achieve to become a legal practitioner, because I wanted to fight, I wanted to protect, I wanted all those things for the women in South Africa, for the women from Lengvate, for the women from the village, for the woman who have already had a child at a younger age. I wanted to be an example. So I was fighting to be that person. The zeal to succeed kept me going. I remember when I was doing my third year, it was one of the difficult years, but I will wake up at night and study because I wanted this thing. I can say that I'm a go-getter. I was not going to fail. So it kept me going. And it is true, the board exams or becoming an admitted legal practitioner, it's not an easy route. Saving your articles is something else, because you are actually getting a stipend, very low stipend. It's very low stipend. I remember when I was saving articles, I was earning 1,800 rand. And remember, I already had a child who I was taking to primary school. So it's one thing. I saved my articles, and then there comes the board exam. At that moment, when you go to law school and you register for your board, you already know of more people who have been failing the board exam. And here you come, you are a woman, you want to enter into this field, because the legal field, it is for men, it is controlled by men, whether we want to admit it or not, but it is. On top of it, it's also controlled by white people. So it's difficult. Fortunate for me, I went to law school and I wrote my board and I passed one time. The first attempt, I passed my board. That's how determined I was. That's how I challenged myself. So, yes, it is a difficult road to end up being there as a legal practitioner, as a black person, as a woman, as you have the history that I have, but I managed to do that on record time, and it is history.
Okay, that is Sis Kuhlula, or Miss Kuhlula Ndhima, that we have with us this beautiful evening. We are going to take a break, but before we take a break, Sis Kuhlula, there's a question that I'm going to pose to you now, and I expect you that when we come back, just go straight to the question. Our listeners cannot help but look forward to the answer, because the question that I have to you is very interesting. The question is, now having qualified as an attorney, you subsequently opened your law firm, Ndhima Attorneys. We'll want to find out from you that, one, what inspired you to open the firm with the challenges that we understand are there in opening a law firm? And then two, how have you used your law firm or your position as now an established law firm to impact on someone else's life, be it in your community, in the country at large? More about that and the answers to these two questions when we come back from the commercial break, because we have some bills that we cannot run away from. We have to settle, we have to pay for those bills. That's how we come back from the commercial break. Sis Kuhlula still with us, and we have posed two questions to her, so they get marinated before she can help us answer to those questions, empowering our listeners, inspiring our listeners, motivating our viewers across all the social media platforms that we broadcast through. That is Facebook and YouTube. Sis Kuhlula, the questions are there, and if I were to recap, you opened your own law firm, Ndhima Attorneys, and we want to find out that with this law firm opened, how did you use this firm, this new chapter of your life, now being Ndhima Attorneys or Ndhima Inc., to continue to impact on someone else's life, be it from your community or in the country at large?
The opening of the law firm was out of frustration because remember when I did and finally get admitted as a legal practitioner, there were things that I wanted to do. There was a way where how I wanted to contribute to the community, eventually to South Africa as a whole, the fighting, the protecting. So while I was working, I was not getting that satisfaction. So out of frustration and out of reminding myself of why did I become a lawyer, I opened the firm. The firm was to be a vehicle that I will use to achieve those things that I've already always wanted to achieve, being the protector, being the provider, fighting for the rights and helping other people, actually just contributing to the community. So I opened the law firm in the year 2012, in August on the 1st. And opening the law firm then meant that I need to hire people to come and assist me. That was my other way of becoming an employer, employing people, which means that I'm contributing into their lives through their salaries. Yes, they work for it, but I'm contributing to their lives as I give salaries or offer salaries, or I share whatever money that is coming to the firm. We also looking at doing some pro bono work, which is offered to people who cannot afford
legal fees, but they do have matters that need the court to solve for them. And the other thing is through this vehicle, which is the law firm, I was also able to contribute to the community through projects that I have been involved in. Some of the projects, it was my initiation. Some of the projects are projects that other people initiated, and I was roped into them, and we contribute to build this beautiful nation. Some of the projects that we'll be involved in have nothing to do with the law, but it has everything to do with socio-economic issues. The law firm, yes, we will have clients pay clients that come and with their matters, which will assist to take them if they're going to court or if they can be solved through other means, and then they pay us, then we have money. But within that a relationship of having clients that come who are paying us for our services, some of that money will then be planted back into the community. There are many things that I have been involved in, which most of the time I prefer to be behind the scene, not being known for some personal reasons, one of which will be I don't want the praise. I want the praise to go to God. So yes, there are many things that we have been doing. I think I can talk about building houses for people who don't have houses. We'll be robbed with other people, and then we'll contribute, and then we'll build houses for those ones. The one thing that has been done over and over and over is the food parcel, which we are given to people who cannot afford to have food, especially on special occasions, which will be Christmas and Good Friday. Now it's winter. We look at buying the shoes for the school children. We look at even buying blankets for the elderly. We look at buying them the slippers. We look at buying them groceries. I also offer my services to talk to especially girls. If anyone needs to talk about whatever they want to talk about, I'm always there to listen. And taking the girl child to school, not primary school or high school, I mean taking someone to university out of the pocket. I will pay for them to get that degree, especially when they do, since I'm a lawyer, but not necessarily that. Recently, I've been, just these past few weeks, I've been paying for or assisting with graduation ceremonies where somebody will dress the person, make up if it's a girl, buy everything, pay for the photographs, and pay for whatever that needs to be done for that day for someone to actually realize that day. On this one, I have a very special space in my heart to help, because when I graduated for my LLB degree, my family was not in good position financially. So I always tell people that my parents used the bus to come to Victoria. We didn't have a car. I tell people that I don't have stage photos because I couldn't even afford to pay the stage photos. I think at that time they were 40 rand or 60 rand. I seriously didn't have that money. I wore a borrowed suit, and somebody borrowed me the clothes, and then after the graduation I had to return the clothes. Things like that. So I know how important that day is. And when somebody is saying I passed, I did pass, but I don't have money to go and celebrate with other students. I really go deep into my pocket and make the day for that person. So there have been many things that I end up getting involved in with the community or with the country, South Africa, and I'm using the law firm as the vehicle to achieve those things. So the firm has become a vehicle for me for the 10 years that I was operating fully in the firm to achieve those things that I've always wanted, which is to protect someone, is to help someone, is to feed someone. I use the law firm to do that.
That is Miss Ndhima. While it's a Kuhlula, I've depleted my English for now. I hope I'll recover to come back into English. Says Kuhlula Ndhima lava hengana bona eka majambu yana muntlha eka nongono kwa hina Love SA eka Bold Moves Radio barikari ba ti iba ya mahlweni ba kombisa hila feme ya bona Ndhima Inc leyi nga feme ya magqweta yi kumekaka ePitori ba yi tirhisaka kona ku vona leswaku ba fikelele eka milorho ya bona ya ku pfuna vanhu eka swiyimo swa ku hambanahambana swa vona loko va ri karhi va hanya na vona va ta kota ku humelela eka milorho leyi va nga na yona. Hi ndlela yeleyo Sis Kuhlula, we want to appreciate you, but I'm tempted to ask a question, but this question this time is not directed to Sis Kuhlula, is directed as a rhetorical question to whoever that's listening. Sis Kuhlula has just said to us that she is using the law firm that she was able to form or establish as a vehicle through which she reaches out to the community, she reaches out to people across the country in their different situations that require some form of needs. My question is, with what God has blessed you with that business that God has blessed you with what that you have in your possession, how do you use that? Do you use that exclusively for your family, for your household, to the total exclusion of your neighborhood, anybody else who might be in need for you to reach out to him or to her? That is a question that you should answer yourself. But if you were to borrow from Sis Kuhlula, you are not advantaged to live lavishly just for yourself, but to help others also realize their dreams. And in that way, we are building South Africa. We will now turn on to a new page because Sis Kuhlula is so much into many things. That is farming that we'll get into to find out what motivated her to move on to farming. The firm hasn't closed, it's still there, it's still welcoming clients, continuing to help clients, continue to make sure that our constitution is fully realized, because the constitution without vehicles such as Ndhima Inc. or legal practitioners such as Sis Kuhlula, our constitution is nothing but a document. But with her and her actions, it is a living document. After the commercial break, we'll turn the leaf to look onto farming. That is another chapter that she has opened a couple of years ago that seems to have taken off well. So now we'll get into our commercial break and let's see what she has to share with us in that regard, farming. And here we are back from the other side of the commercial break. During the break, somebody texted me to find out what Sis Kuhlula meant when she said she also does pro bono work in her firm. Now, although she explained, I think there's a need to explain it a bit further and clearer to not only the person who asked me the question, but to those that would obviously need to know more about this. Pro bono work relates to work that is done by legal practitioners rendered as services to members of the public free of any form of payment. So in other words, if you have a legal need, you have got a matter that requires legal expertise, you are welcome to approach the nearest offices of lawyers or legal practitioners to find out if they will be able to assist you. Remember, not everyone will be readily available, and if they are not readily available, it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't subscribe to that. They do that, but they look at other commitments that they may have. But please remember that you are most welcome, and if they may not be able to assist you freely, they may assist you by referring you to somebody who may be in a position to assist you. Matters that requires legal expertise should be dealt with by people who are duly qualified, such as Kuhlula. So that is as an extension to what Legal Aid Board of South Africa already renders to the indigent people who cannot afford legal services despite the legal needs that they may have. So that is very important. Please remember, you cannot do it if you're not duly qualified. So get people who are duly qualified to assist you. But I must indicate that let's not abuse the system. The system is there to assist those who duly qualify to be assisted in that form, free of any payment. Kuhlula, now on to farming. Again, what motivated you to find yourself broadening your horizon, moving on to farming? Who inspired you, or what inspired you to take that step again onto farming, something that is traditionally expected to be a space for men?
The simplest answer that I can say is food security. Food security speaks to the very same things that I think they motivate me every day: to protect someone, to fight for someone, to take care of someone. The farming for me came as a new thing. I normally will say that just like Joseph of the Bible, when he realizes that the dreams that he had were realized, he dreamt again. I'll speak to my younger brother, one of my younger brothers, and say, I wanted to do 1, 2, 3, and I feel that I've achieved those things, and will say, dream again. So I think when it was nearly the 10 years that I've placed for myself that I will be actively practicing as a lawyer, we're coming to an end. I asked myself what will be the next step. And the next step was for me to dream again. And I dreamt of being a farmer. I dreamt of being in a position to provide food, to produce food. And that's where I end up being. Fortunate or unfortunately, I would say that then COVID happened. COVID pushed me into farming. Remember, the law firm, the courts were closed. One of the industries that remained open was agriculture, because food needed to be produced. People needed to eat, whether they are facing COVID or not. We all needed to eat. So I came into farming with that, 1, and 2, it was for me to retire from actively being involved in the law firm. So I found myself now changing the vehicle. The first was the law firm, which was used as a vehicle to achieve those things that I've always wanted, into now using the farm to achieve the very same thing. With farming comes being in a position to assist those who lack food, assist those who cannot access food. But I then realized that me being in farming as a lawyer, I also I'm also in a position to assist with fighting for the rights of the farmers, fighting for the rights of the black farmers, and fighting for the rights of the female black farmers in this field. I've come to realize that it's so monopolized. I've realized that there are many rules, many acts that closes off from a black child to achieve in this farming thing. One can have land. We know for some of us who come from villages that we do have land, but you find yourself not knowing what to do with your land. For those who are able to go via rima, bakota ku rima tindhawu leti va nga na tona, a wu swi tivi ku u fanele u ya xavisela mani because milawu liya ya khale ya before apartheid yi hela ya ha ri active aka agriculture industry, ya ha pfalele vanhu. A wu pfuka u famba u ya ku xaviseni unless if u ya xavisa hi xindichana. Loko u va u ri na product leyikulukumba ya ku pfalela u nga swi koti ku xavisa. Makete wu pfarile wu ku pfalela as munhu wa ntima. So ni teke the legal background leyi ni nga na yona ni ta na yona hala aka swa vurimi na ku halawa. I will still fight for the rights of people. But NTSHEMBO said it that as a legal practitioner, we make sure that the Constitution does not, it's not merely a document, but it's an active, it's a speaking document within the boundaries of South Africa. So nifikin aka farming, but it's not only about to yeah, as a vehicle to assist people. I assist the public, I assist the fellow farmers. This is how we do things. I then cover many things which I look on time outside the farming and this industry. Legal practitioners. South Africa ita hetela siku un'wana hi vula ku wa truly free. Ita kota ku hetelela hi swi tiva ku hinkwenu hina right ya ku endla mali, hina right ya kota ku tihanyisa hi ku mavoko hina wona hinkwenu na misava most of the people hina yona. Mara a hi ha tsandzeka ku humelela because we don't know our rights, or even when we know our rights we don't have anyone to fight on our behalf ku kota ku achieve leswi misava ya South Africa yi fanele ku yi nyika swona. Hi kota ku achieve ku contribute aka economy ya South Africa. So ni nga vula ku ri ni teka farming hi nkarhi wa kahle, hi nkarhi wa COVID a hi kota ku tirha loko va ti-field tin'wana ti nga koti ku tirha. Mara loko ni fika laha ka farming then I discover ku no, I think this industry needs people like me, needs people like NTSHEMBO, needs people who are willing to fight and to sacrifice their resources ku South Africa economy yi kula. Na timhaka ta ku loko u fika kwala u thola vanhu u va holela. It's one of the things leswi swi warisaka in this field ya agriculture. Ku vanhu vo tala va tirhaka aka agriculture i vanhu va ntima and a va holeriwi. And a ni va vuli hi timhaka ta ku a va holeriwi tisalari letikulu, ni vula ku a va holeriwi at all. And swi tisa ku vava swinene, especially for mina loko ni vona ku lavo ka va nga holeriwi vo tala va nga holeriwi na senti a va holeriwi hi vanhu va ntima. Hina vanhu va ntima aka agriculture loko hi tisiwe ku vava hi valungu hikuva hi pfalela market hi nga koti ku tirha, hina hi vuya hi ta tirhisa vanhu va ka hina va ntima hi nga va holeli. So it's one of the things swi vula ku ri the very same attitude that I had, or the very same attitude which led me into the law firm, it has led me into this thing. And I pray ku kuma matimba na ku pfuniwa hi vanhu van'wanyana hi kota ku cinca this industry, hi kota ku protecta, hi kota ku provider, hi kota ku assista the community and contribute to the economy of South Africa.
Kuhlula, I have no doubt our executive producer abanga bina na xiphiqo ku hi nyika 5 to 10 minutes hi fanele hi hlayiseta eka ku languta mhaka leyi mi nga ku tena yona sweswi. Mi vulavule hi ku mi kombisa leswaku minga tikuva mi ri karhi mi rima ku fana swin'we na n'wina mi nga ku rimeni kambe yin'wana ya mintlhontlho leyi va ka kona, some of the challenges that you come across will be that you produce, but the question is, who do you sell this up to? U teka xindichana, go on to streets, u sungula ku va u xavisa 20 cent, 1 rand, 1 rand. That reminded me of a story. In fact, it's a story that I hear from time to time. That it happens that as a black farmer, you would produce, and then you will hire a truck that will come fetch. Say, for example, your butternut, you load that into its full capacity. Off it goes from your farm to the market. The next thing you inquire, what is the position, what is the latest development with the sales? You are told that the prices went down and the demand was low as one of the reasons, and therefore there's not really anything that you are going to get. Instead, you find yourself faced with a bill of having now to pay the truck that ferried the produce to the market at such a loss. Would you say that a story like this, it's true for a black farmer like you?
Those are the one of the challenges that we face as black farmers. It's either that or it's the transportation industry, agriculture. Yifambisiwa hi lava va nhlonge yo basa. Ku stopa u nga rima like we were saying, u rima u producer u va na xitoko xo kahle, product ya wena yi kahle. Loko u fanele u fambisa, example u fana na hina hi nga Tzaneen, u fanele u susa la Tzaneen u ta ku xaviseni a makete wu le Pitori na le Joni, ivi va fika ku va lava mali ya vona ya transport in advance. A wu na yona, lexi hetelela ku xi endlakala i timhaka ta ku product ya wena liya yi ta hetelela yi bola yi lo ti tshamela kwala hi mhaka ka van'wani yi tele ngopfu leswi swa ku even the public swa ku nghena va ta ku ndhawini hi ta xava va nge yi heti, wo hetelela u luzile. Se ku na swilo swo tala leswi swi fanele swi endliwa aka this industry ku cinca ku na a black farmer a kota ku humelela, ende swin'wanyana swa swona swi fanele swi endla hina ti-black farmers hi ku tirha swin'we hi kota ku langutisa this thing ya farming as a business than ku va munhu a ku a lo hungasa.
Sis Kuhlula, loko hi ri la eka farming, loko ni nga hoxisi wonge a hi vulavula hi purasi rin'we mi ri fambisaka, i mapurasi yanga mi ya fambisaka naswona hi le kwihi hinkwawo ka wona?
Ni na mapurasi manharhu, hinkwawo ya wela under the municipality ya Tzaneen, mara a ya le ka ndhawu yin'we.
Ni twisisa rin'wana ra woho ni twe ni ri na interest ngopfu loko ni ta va ni twe vito ra rona ku ri ra le D-side yi tiveka yi ri khale ka purasi leri a ri busy swinene ri fambisiwa hi kulukumba Billy Eastman loyi a nga va na mpfuneto swinene eka ku hluvukisa eka miganga leyi a mapurasi kumbe purasi leri ri kumekaka eka wona.
Rin'wana ra mapurasi ya mina ku nga na 21 hectares ri kumeka kona i phati ya purasi ra D-side hi le kusuhani swinene ni le Nkambako. Loko va le Nkambako hi wa vuntlhanu va pfulela swiyanimoya va cina howa liya ya koho ya fika na kwahala ka hina.
Okay, Sis Kuhlula, ni na xipuku xin'wana la a ni nga mi byelanga hi xona ni xi ni pfunaka hi khomisanaka tintambu. Moses Ngobeni, it's my co-host who could not be with us from the beginning of the show. He has got a question, very interesting question. I believe I have no doubt that he wants to throw to Sis Kuhlula. Ngobeni, if you are still with us, please, Sis Kuhlula is here and she will want to take that question at this moment.
Well, if it was up to me, Gogwan Magod, I would have asked for a much better way to be introduced than to be referred to as a ghost. But the good is go where ntasho amkela ntaku yin no bantukulu ka ngwe. Sesikuhlula riperini ninge hi vutisi kumbe njhani khale ni yingiserini show leyiwani a no tsandzeka ku connecta la ni nga koho hi mhaka vuthekiniki lebyi nga koho byi tisiwaku hi load shedding. Before I start, I should indicate I know a lot that there is to know about you. Makankulu iko because this host ingakuhlekeleleni ivulavula ngopfu and he has told me a lot about you. Unfortunately, we haven't met, but just to put it aside, it's good things, I must say. And listening to the show, I could relate to a lot of things that we've been sharing, and a lot of women that are listening to us. And I'm saying women in particular because this is a woman that we're interviewing tonight in this show, and you've achieved a lot under circumstances which many would say it's a point of no return. So I want to put it this way tonight, that you are a beacon of hope to so many women and to your very own daughter. Not only a pillar of strength, but you are a point of reference that in life you can always come back at what life may throw your way. So with that said, Says Kuhlula, this is the only opportunity I would get to refer you to Says Kuhlula, and I'm glad you're not seeing my face at this point in time. Otherwise, otherwise you wouldn't ordinarily allow me to refer to you as Says Kuhlula. So I would use this platform and abuse it. You are touching passionately on the subject of farming. And I'm prompted to ask this question, particularly making specific reference to politics, because number one, in South Africa, we are talking about land redistribution, and that is a very sensitive topic that is somewhat being fought against by those who possess the land at this point in time. What do you think the future is for Black people, particularly focusing on farming, and with specific focus into food security? And if I may compound on that question again, it would appear to me, from what you've explained as your experience as a Black farmer, that there seems to be some sort of gatekeeping against Black farmers when you have to push your product. What do you think needs to be done in order to advance Black farmers for them to access the markets? A lot of these markets are based here in Gauteng, because it's usually at most the point of departures. So what do we need to do to advance Black farmers in order to access these markets? And as a sort of an alternative, or as a detour from the originally established markets that you'd find Moketsi and the likes, so that they can access the markets to push their products. I hope my question is clear. And I apologize for compounding it that much. I know we are running against time.
Okay.
Kuhlula, you have got less than 40 seconds to answer to the question, and every will be able to answer that. Thank you.
I think the simplest answer that I can give is for Black farmers, it's for Black investors to invest into farming, is to work together. Then we can unlock the gates that are locked. The one thing that is pushing us back is because we don't have resources. That's it. If we have resources and we work together, we can be able to beat the system.
That is Kuhlula, and I must say that we have run out of time. And NGOBENI, thank you, late as you have been, but you have been very constructive in your contribution. And to our executive producer and the entire technical team, want to thank you. And so, Kuhlula, we really appreciate the contribution that you have made, and we believe that those that have been listening to you speaking to us this evening would have learned something and can take that and go on to build this country as you are from your space doing. And if you were to say just one way to our listeners, to somebody listening there, what would be that way that you can say that will not repeat any of the things that you said as your parting shot in less than 30 seconds?
I will say that if we love South Africa, let's contribute into building it in all areas.
There's no better way she could have put it for us. And that should conclude our today's edition of Love SA through Bold Moves Radio. Same time, same place, and to all our viewers and listeners, thank you for the continued support. We really appreciate that. Who can we be without you? We are because you are, and this concludes.
Streaming 24/7. 24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika nakupenda sana. Oh, Afrika nakupenda sana.